pretty lucky that we are a generation that has been able to see education as both pencil and paper and computer and technology. And a lot of us are really good with technology, we get along with it. Some people, me included, are not the best at it, but even I can admit that I would not know half of what I know now if it wasn't for technology and we were just for textbooks. So I'm here to prove that technology is the way of the future, it's the way we should be moving. We should just forget textbooks altogether and go completely paperless. For one, books are expensive and they each can cover only one topic and they get outdated quickly and they limit what you can learn on a subject, while a computer can replace thousands of books with just one device. So first off, textbooks can actually harm our education. As previously stated, they're expensive, especially college textbooks. And according to InsideHigherEd.com, 65% of college students opted against buying a book because they're too expensive. A good deal of us will be going to college either next year or if we skip a year, the year after. And we all know it's expensive enough without having to pay for the textbooks as well, when you could just pay for a single computer to hold it all. Books quickly become outdated, and when schools can't afford new ones, the kids are learning from textbooks that could be 10 or 15 years old. And with old information, it might be irrelevant these days. And touching up on the environment a little bit, everybody's concerned with the environmental impacts. And it takes thousands, maybe millions of trees to print off these textbooks, to get the paper to make the textbooks. So if we just stop using textbooks altogether, that's a bunch of wood that can be used to make other things, or not even cut down and just leave them as trees. So the solution we've got is just to flat out drop the books, switch over to technology. We millennials are already familiar with technology. We've been around it for most of our lives, although we still have a childhood without them. And the use of technology has been attributed to higher test scores in most high schools. According to SecureEdgeNetworks.com, the University of California Irvine Medical School reports that students scored 23% higher on national exams than previously unequipped classes. Now, kind of the reason they have scored higher is because one device can hold thousands of books, all your notes, all the exams, and keep you in contact with teachers and peers, so you can get more information than just out of a book, and you can get it from multiple sources for multiple points of view. The computers also update fast, almost immediately, so you always have the newest, most up-to-date information. And there's infinite search options. You just type a couple words in Google, thousands of web pages out there about the topic you need. Many schools have already gone paperless, or like us, are heading towards paperless. And when you look around, we've got a 1-to-1 student-to-computer ratio, and we see how well that's already worked for us. Granted, we like to gripe about how the Wi-Fi connection doesn't work, or the computer's always breaking, and a big one I found this year is we don't like the IT department, they can't fix anything. But just imagine if we went completely paperless and relied solely on these Chromebooks. That's money that we don't have to spend on paper, on ink, on staples and paper clips even. And this extra money can go to either helping to strengthen our Wi-Fi connection, get us better electronics that don't break down all the time, or even get an IT department that knows what they're doing. So, and with the benefits of having more information, we know our subjects more. And we can boost our test scores, because I go around Batesville kids a lot, and they always seem to view Franklin County as a second-rate school. So if we can boost our test scores and everything, get them up, we might be king of the hill in this region. So it seems like there's not much we as students can do, seeing as we're on the bottom of the food chain. But when you think about, we're getting to that age, we have a voice and we can speak. And if we can convince those in charge of making the choice to move it higher up the to-do list, so to say, we can emphasize making the move to completely paperless in schools and make this almost like a reformation across the entire country, switch to paperless.
Did any of your sources have a comparison between the test rates of students that use textbooks and the students that use just computers and tablets and stuff?
It's like, the only one I found was, like, give me a minute here to find it, but was that secureedgenetworks.com, and it didn't exactly show side by side, but it said that the majority of those who switched over to technology and used technology solely scored 23% better. A lot of it was actually on how the kids, felt about things. Like the textbooks, they'd get bored and they wouldn't be focused on the information and they didn't absorb it, whereas the technology was more, I don't know exactly how to say it, more, yeah. They got more into it, they were paying attention, and they absorbed the information better.
You mentioned about going completely paperless. So in classes such as like math, where it's kind of hard to go completely paperless,
Yeah.
would you see like that maybe as a bit further off going completely paperless?
Yes, with math, that would probably be the one exception, because I know with all the functions and everything, entering that on a computer would be a pain in the butt. So that would probably be the one exception, but the rest of them could go paperless.
Do you know anything about if it's the majority of schools in America that are going paperless right now or staying more with the textbooks?
I get the feeling that most of them are not going as extreme as just dropping it completely and going paperless, but a lot of them, kind of like us, have a mix, so they're like slowly edging towards paperless. Do I see something over here, or can I answer that?
My question comes about like cognitive learning. We think about a lot of talk about distractions, I guess, from the opposition side. So what do you say about technology being more of a distraction to learning than a help to learning?
Yes, it can be distracting. I mean, I've seen a lot of my classmates always on YouTube or Tumblr or whatever else they use. And yes, I admit it can be distracting, but in a way it can help to teach us some self-restraint and kind of teach us to make ourselves focus instead of being forced to.
Do you think students aged 12 to 18 have self-restraint?
Well, some of them don't. Some of us do. I know with the younger grades, they should probably just stick to paper because they don't. But as for at high school level, I think you should be old enough and mature enough to be able to restrain yourself and say, hey, I've got work to do. We got to do it before we complete